Welcome everybody, I'm Killzomza. And so, as you guys could tell, there was a few things that were in the background, like little subplots that were being, sprinkled around for some time. They, obviously the main subplot that was addressed in the tournament was the distrust between Kessler and Demon Kill. Now, that was a big thing that was going on since Kill Saga X Killer Ted the Syndicate, where Demon Kill was first introduced, and you start to realize that Kessler is not the biggest fan of Demon Kill. He's like, I'm not a fan of your methods. That starts to get more and more closer to its boiling point as you start going into Kill Saga Warzone. Once you get into Kill Saga Warzone, they're going to have to deal with Commando, and they have to deal with the implications of what happened to Matt. And then you get into Kill Saga Saran, which this is by far, as of, at this moment in time, this is the crossover that has the biggest ramifications. Kill Saga X Killer Ted Saran, at that moment in time, has the biggest ramifications because Kessler goes as far as to get someone to take down Demon Kill. This makes it so that he is kicked off the team, and this is where this leads into the tournament, which the tournament has been hinted at before Warzone. And the Grandmaster basically says, like, look, this tournament was made with certain people in mind. If these people aren't here, you can't have your spot in the tournament, you forfeit. So, Kill is forced to team up with Kessler almost immediately after finding out his betrayal, which immediately makes things very tense for them. It makes things, not so sure. They're like, Kill's not very trusting of Kessler throughout the majority, if not the entire tournament. He's just like, look, like, I'm with you in this fight because I have to. I have my own goals, my own motivations. I am forced to team up with you. This is not because I want to team up with you. This is because I have to. And you get this, feeling of he has to do these things to team up with Kessler throughout the entire tournament, and you see how they react with one another. You see that, even though Kill is not trusting of Kessler, there's moments in the tournament where Kessler may have been able to win if Kill had just been a little more trusting, and you see where Kill not being fully trusting, not willing to give Kessler another chance, leads to him actually suffering. Leads to Kill actually losing some points in the tournament because he's not willing to trust Kessler, and because he's not willing to trust his team actually begins to lose. Even though, arguably, they have Demon Kill, so arguably they could be, if stronger than most of the Syndicate. But because he's not willing to trust Kessler, he's not, winning those points that he probably could have won. He made Kessler lose against the Executioner when Kessler arguably could have won with his upgrade. And, that's one big major thing, is that Kill is just so into the fact that Kessler betrayed him, he can't trust him with an upgrade. Because he's like, what if he betrays me again? Kind of thing. And it really impacts Kill to the point of where he's like, I can't trust him, he loses points, it's a big thing. But you also get to see things about Kessler, where Kessler does feel guilty about what happened. He does feel bad about what happened between him, Kill, and Saran. He does feel bad about that, and he even makes that known when he fights Saran multiple times during this tournament. He takes hits for other people. He takes hits for Executioner, which Executioner is part of the enemy team. When Saran is about to harm Executioner and Kessler is able to stand up and take the shot, he takes the shot because he feels guilty. He feels that the only reason why Saran is here is because of him. And so he takes the shot. He takes it without hesitation. Says no, takes the shot. He feels guilty. He fucking berates Saran for doing what Saran was asked to do. He's not happy with himself. And so throughout the tournament, he makes it known. And you get to see different sides of Kill, you get to see different sides of Kessler. And even after this tournament is done, Kill is not fully trusting of Kessler. He's a little more trusting because of their experiences that they had to endure while fighting in this tournament, but he's still not trusting of Kessler. And this kind of, puts their friendship in an awkward position because they were like best friends. But now they're in the situation where Kill can't fully trust Kessler, and Kessler is only remorseful for his actions and is just trying to prove that he made a mistake. And, that's what this whole crossover is about, is the fact that Kessler, still at the end of the day, while realizing he made a mistake, is just trying to atone for his actions, trying to show, I'm bigger than the mistake that I made. And it's also about how Kill cannot forgive him so easily because of the fact that this was his best friend and he went so far to do what he did. And you see how it has impacts on both of those characters throughout the tournament, and how even Kessler tries to have special moments with venting with Kill during this tournament, but they're short-lived. And Kill just seemingly can't let Kessler in anymore after what happened. So it's a process, right? And another thing is the upgrades, right? So it's specifically said by Kill that, hey, said by Kill, hey, we cannot handle Saran as is. We barely could last time. We need upgrades. And this is a really big thing for Demon Kill, because Demon Kill has been shown to be unbeatable at this point in time. Before the tournament, Demon Kill has never lost a fight. Never. Every single fight he has won. So the very first fight that he ever loses is with the entire team of the Ultimates and the Syndicate, all teamed up together, and they all lose together against Saran. And now the big thing about this also is that there's a reveal in this crossover about Saran's power. You find out that his power is derived from him killing heroes. Killing heroes or villains or basically any superpowered being. If he kills them, he gets stronger. Depending on their power level, depends on how much stronger he gets. And that basically poses a threat because you start to realize Saran in his own crossover was only able to go toe-to-toe with Demon Kill, and that's about it. He barely was able to take on anyone else besides Demon Kill, and Demon Kill beat him. In this crossover, he beats everyone on the Ultimates and the Syndicate, arguably without almost breaking a sweat. And that shows two things. One, Saran's gotten more powerful, and two, he's killing more heroes or villains or more superpowered beings, but where is he, killing them? How is it that the heroes don't know about it, And, that's going to be a point that gets talked about in future episodes or whatever. But, yeah, Saran just... this crossover is definitely focused on 3 individuals in the background, but I would say that the characters it focuses on the most is the Syndicate. It focuses on a lot of characters, to be honest. The Syndicate gets a lot of focus on here because you see Avalanche, you see a different side to him, because Avalanche just came in as the muscle of the Syndicate when you first saw him. You didn't know much about him. He told you a little bit of his backstory, but you didn't know enough. Now you know more about Avalanche, and you know how he relates to someone like Kessler. You see that Avalanche is similar to Kessler in the sense that, he... if Kessler would have just gone 1 or 2 different ways in his life, he could have ended up just like Avalanche. Kill is arguably a lot like Cerebrum, and they touch on that. And you can see that Kill is not happy with the idea of how similar they are, because this is someone who's tortured him in the past, but they're very similar. Kill and Cerebrum are very similar. Matt and the Executioner, very similar, especially with their ties of, bonds with friends or family. The difference is how they went about it. Matt, instead of, cutting off everyone, he clung on to those connections that he had and tried to make more friends and connections rather than trying to cut them off thinking that they'll leave him too. Executioner, once he realized that people left him, he stayed away from more connections. Kessler, instead of becoming like Avalanche, which Avalanche became so scared of the fact of how people treated him and, mentally and verbally abused him, that he became a puppet. Whereas Kessler, realizing that he was being abused and manipulated and used, realized what was going on, and he fought against it. Kill, realizing that, hey, bad things happen to me. Cerebrum, noticing bad things happening to me. Instead of Kill using fear to hurt his enemies, he goes, takes them down, and realizes good and bad. Cerebrum uses fear to hurt his enemies because he never had the physical strength to take them down. However, Demon Kill and Cerebrum are a lot similar because they both use fear to scare their enemies and take them down. So, you get to see how the Ultimates compared to the Syndicate, because the Ultimates are not that far off from the Syndicate, and because of that, they're able to put aside their differences, and they agree to team up with them to take down Saran once and for all. And there's focus on Avalanche, the Executioner, and Cerebrum. There's, expansion on Saran as a character because you find out more about his powers and you find out what he's doing here. You find out a bit more about how Kessler's dealing with the whole situation with what he did to Demon Kill. And you're finding out how Kill and Demon Kill are handling this whole thing. And yeah, this crossover I really did like. This crossover also was I guess you could call it like fan service, where it's like, oh, how would this character fare against this character? How would this character hold up against this character? Because, for instance, we never saw like Dr. Nukenvope fight the zombie horde. That's never happened. Never, ever, ever. Because when the zombie horde showed up, Dr. Nukenvope was in prison. So, how does the zombie horde handle against Dr. Nukenvope and Ted? We find out. We never saw regular baseline Kill, without demon form, fight Avalanche because Kill was already too hurt from his fight against Cerebro and Kessler in the Syndicate crossover. Now we get to see how a more strategically fighting kind of Kill fares against Avalanche, and you see how that goes. We never saw Kessler 1v1 the Executioner because the Executioner kind of sneak attacked him. Now we get to see how their powers fare against each other. And so on and so forth. We never saw Dr. Nukenvope fight Cerebrum. Now we get to see how their powers compare to one another. We see how they fight and who wins. You know, stuff like that. This was like a lot of fan service. Another example is we never saw Kessler fight Saran. So we see Kessler and Ted take on Saran. Get their asses beat, but you get to see it. So it's definitely a lot of fan service because you see a lot of fights that you never saw before. And I really liked answering those kinds of questions like, who would win? Who would win? I really did like this crossover. This crossover was fucking great. My favorite parts of the crossover, my favorite fights, were, I believe it was part 3 of the crossover, which is round 2. That's when you see Ted and Dr. Nukenvope fight the zombie horde. That was, like, my favorite fight up until part 13 of the tournament, part 13 of 15, where you see everyone fight Saran. And then they take them on, and then the last 4 standing are Kill, Kessler, Executioner, and Ted. I love part 13. That is my favorite fight of the tournament, is part 13, where everyone fights Saran. I love it. But we're going to have definitely more elaboration on Saran as time goes on, because obviously Saran gets away, and you're going to definitely see more of Saran in the future. I love Saran, but either way. So with that, guys, I'm just one visit close. Kill Zomzone, and I'm out for now. Peace.